When the conduct of existence and circumstances towards the fulfillment of their purpose require our intervention, we will become rulers. When we must turn towards the material levels, the unalterable silence and the revealed essence dived into the hidden face of existence, we will be contemplative. When, in compliance with the laws, we free nuclei from the impure bonds that prevent them from expressing the archetype, the healer that we are will emerge. We will be a mirror if we reflect unalterably what the unique source pours on us. If austerity and balance qualify our existence, if we're able to watch over the adverse forces in us, and by defeating them, we offer the Creator the silent victory, the light of our eyes will reveal the warrior. By leading the elements from darkness to light, in-depth knowledge of cycle and ceremonies, preparing the paths of energy, the priest emerges. When genuine, formless knowledge is presented to our consciousness, the voice of the prophet will resound. Daniel Gagliardo. In certain stage of existence, a being perceives that it must march to the encounter of another reality. As long as the idea becomes stronger and more precise, it discovers that its existence exceeds the mere framework of personal convenience. Thus, the search becomes what internally really is, a response to the internal call. He begins to glimpse that going to the internal encounter requires entering a path. In the beginning, the path crosses areas that are familiar to the searcher. The more he strengthens himself in a test proposed by the path, the more distant is all ambition to exhaust it. When he reaches a certain stage on his path, he discovers that some time ago all that path offers to him is energy of transformation. He also perceives that he could not return to the stretches where what he knew gave him confidence and security. The light that was present in a worker's night has silently prepared him to aspire to the known. The light, without words, instructed him to the pilgrim consciousness. The light revealed to him that he, like all particles in evolution, must return to the source, the abode of the chosen. Turned into a pilgrim, he knows he belongs nowhere. He flows in a cycle of existence, sustaining his ceremonial. The light can now present itself more intensely to the pilgrim. He reverses it within himself, and he gives himself to his internal purifying actions. A percentage of the individuals that inhabit the surface of this planet walk the path. The footprints left by this and other pilgrims operate as symbols of what they will once walk. The intraterrestrial and extraterrestrial civilizations accompany the step of the pilgrim. The light they express is the same that he discovers in his interior. Thus, the consciousness of the pilgrim is immersed in a revelation of the unique life that encompasses everything. Our consciousness will gradually reduce the distance that separates us from the existence of cosmic collision. Symbolically speaking, to test the search in union with our inner core is the test of union with the cosmos. To make concrete what this call proposed to us, the being must assume an intense and disinterested work. reaching the understanding that his scales of values, as well as his tendency to seek personal benefit in every circumstances in which he is involved, is not essential. The consciousness that expresses the pulse of the superior existence knows that only by working for the benefit of all, a nucleus of life is faithful to the creative principle that gave it its origin. The consciousness that expresses the pulse of the superior existence knows that only by working for the benefit of the whole, a nucleus of life is faithful to the creative principle that gave its own origin. The dissuasive forces housed in the layer of the planetary psyche and inserted in a whole context of material life work so that the pilgrim does not concretize that which corresponds to him. The activity is forced on preventing the human ego from transforming its energy of separateness into individuality with conditions of interiorization and amalgamation. Somehow these forces try to take over the role of our own soul, but offering us the path of disintegration and the lack of knowledge of the unique purpose. Recognizing the multiple appearance and dynamics with which those forces interact and influence becomes fundamental to us. To perceive which areas of our personality offer them shelter is a work that demands boldness and humility, surrender and transcendence, detachment and attention, silence and synthesis, impersonality and desidentification. It is precisely the energy of desidentification that these forces continually attempt to neutralize in our minds. They are assured of their place in this planetary universe as long as human consciousness continues to identify with the play of the forces that these involutive parameters offer. The new patterns of life and behavior, which already resonate and are implanted in the context of this orb, will not need within the scope of the instruction the presence of these forces. Their presence will be reduced to a force field which will operate as a pull for certain stages of development of the cycles to be manifested. The pilgrim knows that the presence of these forces in a universe through which he walks today is part of what his action as a servant must attend. He knows that the response to the call involves simultaneously going to meet the needs and attending to them. Going from the attention of one need to another is that way takes on the meaning that each stretch must have. The pilgrims who cross the terrestrial desert know that the consequence of each action of these forces must first be overcome in themselves. To recognize the needs, they must pull out moment by moment the tares themselves so that that which is destined to bear fruit in them receives the light without interference. Taking care not to fall into the trap to think that we lead a correct life and to be satisfied with what we have achieved becomes of immense importance. This attitude offers decisive forces many hidden places in our personality, aspiring to transform ourselves and to change without stopping, generates the dynamic of the expansion of our consciousness. Sooner or later, this rhythm synchronizes with the rhythm of the inner identity of the being. As we have seen, our search, our response to the call, as well as the service which must unfailingly emerge as flow in us, depend on the potential to neutralize the action of the forces, which can generate satisfaction and identification with the evolutionary death that end they offer. Being able to neutralize these influences defines which Lord we are in a position to serve. As we have seen, our search, our response to the call, as well as the service, which must unfailingly emerge as a flaw in us, depend on the potential to neutralize the action of the forces, which can generate satisfaction and identification with the evolutionary debt and they offer. Being able to neutralize these influences defines which lord we're in a position to serve.